Am I the a-hole for teaching my daughter's boyfriend the things he asks to learn, even if it pisses off his dad? Hi all. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. My daughter and her boyfriend know my main, and I really need some outside opinions on this. I'm 43M. My daughter is 18, and she's been with her boyfriend, Reese, also 18, for about 3 years now. They met in school and stuck together through all the usual ups and downs. I like Reese. He's a sweet, soft-spoken lad with a genuinely good heart. The kind of young man who doesn't need to shout to be heard, and who actually listens when people talk. That might not sound groundbreaking, but these days, it's rare. He reminds me a bit of myself at that age, polite, gentle, and maybe a little unsure of his place in the world. Reese has a difficult home life. His dad, well, let's just say he's the opposite. Big, loud, aggressive, the kind of guy who thinks everything can be fixed with a bit of shouting and toughening up. From what I've seen, he's the classic toxic masculine role model. Think. Why are you crying? Man up. He forces Reese into sports he doesn't enjoy, constantly compares him to other boys, and doesn't seem to accept that his son is just wired differently. Quieter, gentler, more sensitive. Now, I'm no saint. I've had my share of life's knocks, and I know how to hold my ground. I'm confident, social enough, and a tradesman by profession. Plumbing's my game, but I don't go around puffing my chest out trying to prove I'm alpha. I've also got a few hobbies that don't exactly scream testosterone. I love baking, and I'm a proper car enthusiast. My garage is my sanctuary, and I bake a mean Victoria sponge when I'm not under bonnet. So here's where things started. About 2 years ago, Reese asked me if I could teach him how to box. Not because he wanted to fight, just to keep fit, learn the technique, maybe get some confidence. I'd done a fair bit of boxing myself in my 20s and 30s, mostly for fitness, so we worked out in my garage. Nothing serious, just him learning how to throw a decent jab, use the bags, proper footwork. He really enjoyed it, quietly determined, soaking everything in. Then his dad found out. I don't know if it bruised his ego or what, but he blew up. Suddenly, it wasn't real boxing, because I wasn't taking Reese to a gym to get punched in the face. Next thing I know, Reese is backing off, making excuses, and the session stopped. I didn't press it, I could see the pressure he was under. Later, when my daughter turned 17, Reese asked me to help him bake her a birthday cake. He'd never baked before, but he wanted it to be special. So he came round a few evenings while she was out. We practiced together, tried different recipes, and he ended up making her a stunning 4-layer Oreo cake. She was over the moon. I was proud of him too. He didn't just follow instructions. He cared about getting it right. A few months later, he made a cake for his mom's 50th, all on his own, with just a little help using my baking kit. But again, at that party, I saw his dad's face. He came over and practically growled, "Is this your influence?" I just smiled and said, "He made it himself, and look how happy his mom is." He tried to stare me down, puffed up like a dog trying to prove something. I walked away. It wasn't the time or the place to get into it. Fast forward to last weekend. My neighbor had asked if I could service her car. Local garage had quoted her £600, and I knew I could do it for a fraction of the cost. I agreed, and Reese asked if he could watch and learn. He's just started driving lessons and wanted to get a feel for how cars work. I said absolutely. It's a great skill to have. So I showed him how to loosen wheel nuts, jack the car up properly, use axle stands. We took the wheels off, and I showed him why you always chuck them under the frame just in case. He was taking notes on his phone, asking thoughtful questions. We changed the brakes, the oil, filters. I even let him finish up by replacing the air filter, just 4 screws. But you'd have thought he'd won the Grand Prix. He was so proud. Told him he could help me do my car next weekend if he wanted. He lit up. Then yesterday happened. I got a knock at the door. It was Reese and his dad. Reese was staring at the ground, looking like a kicked puppy. His dad launched straight into it. No hello, no civility. Started shouting at me. "He's my son, not yours. You don't get to teach him man stuff." I was stunned. I said, "What are you talking about?" He told me I had no right teaching Reese how to work on a car, that it's his job as a father. I told him Reese asked to watch, that it wasn't like I kidnapped him and taught him to fix brakes at gunpoint. Then he really went off. Said I turned him into a fairy with the baking. Said the boxing wasn't real because I wouldn't let him get hit. Said I was teaching him to kill himself by letting him crawl under a car. At that point, I was fuming. I said, if he asks me how to do something, I'll fucking show him. I don't need your permission. He shoved me up against my car, tried to intimidate me, told me I shat myself at that birthday party and now I was acting hard. I'm 6 feet 1 inch, not a small guy, and I've seen enough wannabe tough guys to know when someone's just looking for a fight. But I didn't give him what he wanted. I looked him straight in the eyes and said, yeah, I'm really terrified, and then turned to Reese and said goodbye. Told them I had a roast to cook for my parents and walked back inside. Later, I told my ex. She said I should have just gone along with it to keep the peace. My daughter agreed, said her boyfriend's dad has a real temper and this might just make things worse for Reese. And now I'm torn. I want to help Reese. I really do. He's got so much potential and he wants to learn. But I also don't want him to suffer more abuse at home because of it. At the same time, if I back down, this guy wins. He thinks he scared me off. And I can't stand the idea of bullies getting their way. Especially when the person they're bullying is their own son. So, am I the a-hole if I continue to help Reese behind his dad's back when he asks me to? Should I respect the father's authority, even if I think he's damaging his own kid? Or should I stand my ground and keep supporting a young man who's clearly looking for guidance, even if it causes drama? I hate that I even have to ask this, but I'd really appreciate some honest thoughts.